for joining us for a candid conversation on why customers are choosing EHR Cloud Read-Only on AWS. Before we begin, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. The webinar is being recorded and will be made available after the broadcast. All attendees will be sent the deck, the recording, and supportive assets to help your healthcare cloud journey. Please check to make sure you're on mute. And we encourage you to interact throughout the presentations using your engagement features found at the bottom of your screen, such as the like or the celebration icon. You can use the chat feature to post questions. We will cover the Q&A live at the end of the webinar. So at this time, I would like to welcome you. I'm Jody Jepson, your moderator today. We have an esteemed group with us to share their expertise surrounding cost-effective and quick-to-implement solutions that mitigate today's security risks by leveraging the cloud and with the sole goal purpose of providing quality, uninterrupted patient care. We will hear from Eric Hume, CEO of Keystone Technologies, as he shares his why and how Keystone got started. Prathima Srinivasan, Global Head of Healthcare at AWS, will cover partnership and what it means to you. Jeff Bell, CIO with Keystone Technologies, will dive deeper into EHR hosting and what you need to know, while Matt Dinger, Epic on AWS leader, will round out the presentations with the why CEOs and IT Directors should implement Epic AWS Cloud Read-Only. So right now, let's get it started. Eric, you want to take it away?
Sure thing. Thank you, Jody. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Humes. I'm the CEO and founder at Keystone Technologies. So first, who is Keystone? At our core, we're a healthcare company that believes that technology provides the largest opportunity to improve patient care. In short, we deliver critical healthcare data to medical providers when they need it and how they need it in order to offer the highest quality of care to their patients. We've been around for a while and are well established with the right partners. At the helm, we are partnered with AWS as an advanced tier partner. We have earned the AWS healthcare competency and completed our migration competency review. We have a 20-year history of referenceable and successful healthcare engagements. We serve acute care as well as the ambulatory space. We work with many large health systems, medical groups, and private practice physician groups all around the country. So why is this relevant? Health systems continue to do more with less. Many look to the cloud for help. As such, migrations from on-premise environments to the cloud is one of the leading trends in healthcare technology. Migrating EMRs to the cloud is something Keystone has been doing for as long as anyone else in the industry. Keystone has the specific relevance, expertise, and experience to help guide these organizations through this journey. Now, before we get too much deeper, let's go back to where it all began. This is our why. Meet my mom, Becky. Mom was diagnosed with lupus 33 years ago. And when I was a teenager, she would take me out of school on the days she had doctor's appointments so I could help her lug her medical records out of the trunk of her car and into a foldable cart. The box was filled with test results, doctor's notes, medical bills, research articles, et cetera, et cetera. And on one such visit to Barnes Hospital in St. Louis, I asked her why we needed to bring all this information to every visit. With a stern look on her face, she said, "With so many doctors involved in my care, I cannot afford for any single doctor to not have all of my information." Today, we refer to Mom's challenge as interoperability. But thanks to EMR software, cloud technologies, and to integrators like Keystone, Mom no longer brings her paper medical records with her. We've come a very long way in 30 years, but we still have work to do. This was the driving force behind why we created Keystone and what fuels our work today. So Keystone helps in 4 different ways. Number 1, EMR hosting services. Keystone has a cloud-based EMR server architecture that allows our clients to pull any level of detailed information regarding each of their practices onto a single platform that ensures the safety and integrity of their data. We'll be talking quite a bit more about this later in the presentation. Number 2, EMR data conversion services. Our clients often need to transfer large amounts of patient data from one system into another, and it is imperative to ensure that this is done in a secure, compliant manner with 100% accuracy. Keystone's ETL conversion methodology begins with patient safety as our first priority. Number 3, legacy data archival. Keystone can provide the long-term management of hosting of legacy EMR data without the ongoing expense of maintenance and licensing. And number 4, healthcare data extraction. With Keystone's data extraction services, we can extract data from EMR and practice management systems through an automated solution that extracts the raw data and makes it available for loading. And with this solution, an organization can build a BI architecture that allows them to pull detailed information regarding each of their practices onto a single platform. So why partner with Keystone? Well, at Keystone, we view success in all engagements through the lens of the patient. If our work doesn't serve to improve patient care, then we have failed. With AWS, risk of failure is almost completely mitigated. AWS gives us the technology building blocks to allow us to architect fully redundant EMR cloud solutions, which could previously only be afforded by large IDNs. Keystone's mission is to ensure that healthcare providers have the information they need in order to provide the highest quality of care to their patients. Everything we do is driven by that. No other element of our solution is as central to this mission as AWS. So with that, I'll hand the presentation over to Prathima Srinivas, Global Healthcare Leader at AWS.
Thank you, Eric and Keystone Technologies for this opportunity. Before I dive into the partnership with Keystone and how it's benefiting our healthcare customers, I want to provide a little bit overview on our healthcare mission. At the essence, we at Amazon, we strive to be the most customer-centric company. Most of you may know that we are very customer obsessed. And in my role, because I work with the global SIs and consulting partners, I'm purely partner obsessed. And this is where our partnership is going to show around supporting our customers. Getting more specific to our AWS Healthcare team's vision, what we at AWS are set out, we are set out to be the most trusted innovation and the technology partner to our health system customers. What really that means is our mission is to enable our customers with the best that technology can offer so that we can self-disrupt, we can deliver the convenient, personalized, high-value care to those they serve. And this is where the partnership really plays a huge role. Today, for us at AWS, to support our hospitals and health system, we need partners like Keystone who play a pivotal role to support our health system customers. Next slide, please. In addition to being the industry's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform over 8 years, we have experience both in the life sciences healthcare industry, and also we are specifically focused on healthcare business. The combination of the technology expertise and the industry knowledge makes it AWS one of the most trusted partners in the global healthcare industry. What you see here is around the breadth and the depth of the healthcare team experience. As you can see, we have physicians, we have healthcare board members, we have ex-CIOs, CMIOs. You will hear later from one of our colleague, Matt Dinger, he's got over 10 years experience at Epic. We have solution architects who have Epic certified system administrators. We have ProServe teams supporting our partners and our healthcare customers. So this is to show our investment in our healthcare business is very deep and strong. Next slide, please. I want to talk a little bit about why Epic on AWS. I mean, I've been supporting customers and been in healthcare industry over 23 years. There are many reasons why health systems choose Epic on AWS, but I want to highlight the 4 main reasons why customers are looking into Epic on AWS. I'll be very honest, working in healthcare systems and working directly with many CIOs, the conversations always starts around the cost optimization. We have different programs, and this is one of the reasons why we want to work with Keystone on providing those discount programs. We have two different programs called, one is the migration assessment program. Normally it yields about 25% on a healthcare workload over 500K ARR. And that is something our customers can benefit through Keystone, like one of our partners. And the other second discount is around the EHR on AWS. It's very specific. Usually we don't stack programs, but this is something we have done an exception. And this is where our customers can work with Keystone to offset the cost. Not only that, we have tools, performance cost optimization tools that can also offset. And our latest EC2 instance that came out recently, I don't know if you looked at the press release, there is some additional cost savings. I know Matt will touch upon some of our customer wins where they're seeing the additional cost savings, but I will say number one reason is around the cost optimization. As a clinician, for me, end user experience is one of the key aspects. Whether the Epic sits on cloud or on-prem, when I have a patient sitting in front of me, am I able to access the application, be able to provide the right care at the right time? And what we have done at AWS is some of our team members like Matt and our solution architects like Jimmy, Kevin, they work on a daily basis with Epic. So we have closely worked to identify 400 compute instance types that delivers the best Epic response time at scale. And this is something we have created, the blueprints and the reference architecture based on the best practices, both from the AWS on the native services that we offer. And the third reason is ability to execute. Most of us who are in the hospitals and health systems, we know that the EHR infrastructure is constantly growing. Epic is introducing new features to improve the clinician workflows. And one of the other reasons why our customers are choosing Epic on AWS is being able to deliver the new technology to run those workloads at a pace ahead of the scale. And finally, business continuity. Let's be honest, health systems are under constant attack of cyber criminals. Ransomware has shut down EHRs for weeks and sometimes even takes days to get back. So raising your security posture with our AWS infrastructure services is another reason. So, I'm happy to take the discussion forward with any of you who have more questions, but these are something that we are seeing from our end. Next slide, please. So working with partners like Keystone, what it really means to our customers is they can provide solutions and services that will help support virtually on any AWS services. And we've been working with them, at least in my role, for the last year and a half. They've gone through multiple enablements, both on the sales side, the technical side, so they get a very deep understanding around the Epic on AWS. We have a program called Landing Zone Accelerator. So what really a landing zone accelerator does is put a foundation with all the security and the compliance controls for our customers so that our Keystone can go deploy these solutions for our customers. AWS also provides the financial incentives for our customers to benefit. And Keystone has gone through the entire the program to be able to go deploy these CloudFormation templates within our customers' environment. Keystone also has our healthcare competency. What really that means is they have demonstrated the technical expertise, the customer success in building healthcare solutions on AWS that can securely store, process, transmit, and analyze the clinical information. So we are very engaged with Keystone on this journey. And the only way we can scale at AWS, our healthcare business, is through our partnership with Keystone, and really excited on this collaboration. With that, I will hand it off to Eric, who's going to talk about the EHR hosting. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Jeff Bell. I've been in healthcare and healthcare IT for well over 40 years. I started out my history as a clinician, and later on in my career moved over to the IT department. So I have some perspectives on how this all goes. IT used to be the department of no. We would say, no, we can't make our systems faster without spending millions of dollars. No, we don't have enough disk space for that new system to be put in next week. No, we can't test our new releases as thoroughly as we should. No, we can't assure you that nurses will always have patient information available on the computer systems. No, that's not a coffee cup holder on your PC. It's a CD drive. No, 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 no. IT used to have so many negatives attached, but now, instead of the department of no, we can become the department of know-how. Let's talk about that. How do we become the department of know-how? We have to become flexible, resilient, and pertinent. For an organization contemplating Epic, or for everyone who's already on Epic, Keystone and AWS together can help you achieve all three. Our healthcare data extraction experts are second to none, truly world-class in their experience, expertise, and ability to unlock all the important data in your legacy systems. Not all data conversions are equal. We'd love to talk to you about that. We can make sure that you have not only checked the box for data conversion, but also have the results that will be usable and pertinent for your clinicians, and mostly important for their patients. Our Epic Bridges certified resources are able to take your legacy data and custom prepare it to be seamlessly imported into your organization's particular Epic build. Then, whether choosing a full Epic on AWS deployment or choosing to enhance your organization's resilience through a redundant read-only environment, we are ready and able to help you with Epic EHR hosting on AWS. There are many components to these four buckets: EHR hosting, data conversion, legacy, data archival, and healthcare data extraction. Data extraction and conversion for import into any new EHR, and particularly Epic, is not trivial. You'll want to pick a team proven to have the chops to keep up with the rest of your project team. We are that team. Your decision is what data needs to carry forward and fully integrate into the new Epic instance, and what can be more simply and less expensively stored in an archive system. We can help with that decision and execution of both of those paths. And finally, hosting your new Epic instance will be one of the most important decisions you can make on your path to becoming known as flexible, resilient, and pertinent, otherwise known as the Department of Know-How. In 2005, I led a very talented team to build a $66 million Tier 4 data center, world-class in every respect, specifically to host Epic. At the time, we were Epic's third largest customer. Cloud was an emerging and very tempting alternative, but cloud was not ready. We did make the right decision at the time to build that data center, but today things are totally different. AWS has an amazingly deep offering of uniquely cloud-only capabilities, perfectly suited to host Epic and all your ancillary workloads. Epic on AWS is no doubt the decision I would make today. This decision does not have to be black and white. There can be many shades of gray. If you haven't heard the terms SWITted, dev, test, train, cert, stage, all these environments, even before you get to the production environment, if you haven't already learned, there can be many different Epic environments to create, maintain, and pay for. The non-prod environments are worth focusing on at this point. We can choose to place only our non-prod environments in AWS, which is a great place to start on a cloud adoption strategy. Doing so allows you to scale up and down with your release cycles, making your testing scenarios much more realistic and valid, especially any load testing you would like to do, which always seems to be the redheaded stepchild of testing. Scaling up and down is an essential part of cost management, a core feature of true cloud computing on AWS. By not having to pay full load for SWITted, dev, test, train, cert, stage, etc., you can help your IT organization stay pertinent through cost control. You can help your IT organization stay flexible through continuously variable sizing of your non-prod environments as needed. Unfortunately, these days, DR gets a lot more attention than it should. The bad guys are getting worse every day. Epic on AWS Cloud can help you and your organization mitigate the risks of ransomware and other threats to your production systems. Knowing that no matter what, your clinicians will always be able to care for their patients with full information from their EHR will ensure the resilience needed today. As I stated earlier, if I had the decision to make today with all the benefit of knowing today's cloud options, there is no doubt that I would choose to place my organization's full Epic stack of environments in AWS. Doing so would be certain to give my department the reputation of delivering flexibility, resilience, and pertinence. When working with the business leaders in healthcare, IT leaders inevitably face the question, how can we contain costs? With regard to infrastructure, the two levers we can most easily pull to manage cost are the performance of the systems and the resilience, redundancy of the systems. No business leader is ever going to subject their doctors and clinicians to a poorly performing system that just won't work. That leaves IT leaders constantly juggling dollars against disaster recovery and business continuity readiness. It's like, do I save dollars or do I have great DR? That's a very bad conundrum to be in. The right conversation for IT to have with the business is around two key metrics, RTO and RPO. RTO is the return to operations metric, the time it takes in a disaster to get systems back up and running. And RPO, the recovery point objective, which is how much data is lost in a major hardware corruption scenario. Asking the business to define these business parameters is a stunningly easy way for the IT department to build consensus and assure pertinence moving forward. And AWS Cloud can absolutely make you the hero of your organization through a simple and elegant read-only copy of your Epic EHR environment. Similar to local BCA computers, but without the management headaches, you can keep a full and up-to-date copy of all your critical patient care data, always available economically. I remember nearly 8 years ago in one of my first conversations about putting medical data in AWS, the IT director loudly and proudly proclaimed, "You can't put patient data in the cloud. It's not HIPAA compliant." Of course, he was wrong then, and if possible, he's even more wrong now. There's a valid argument to be made that AWS Cloud is more secure than on-premise infrastructure. And the flexibility and performance that comes from closely tailoring the compute workload demands with the computing resources, variable to the hour of day and day of the week, ensures that the eternal cost performance struggle will be more manageable than ever. And last, let's talk about grefs. Grefs are an Epic intersystems reference. It's a global references per second is what grefs refer to. It's a measured metric determined when Epic engineers and AWS engineers get together periodically and load up a complete Epic test environment and run it through its paces very scientifically and very rigorously. AWS has been leading the way with improving gref capabilities in the cloud space for as long as I can remember. With these metrics, we have found that over 90% and rising of all Epic customers could run on a full set of AWS environments. And over the past 2 years, gref capabilities in AWS have increased over 260%. There are, of course, cost savings to be had in AWS Cloud, and more important, resilience. And most important, resilience is the estimated reduction in downtime associated with a true cloud architecture. A recent study determined that the average cost of downtime for healthcare providers was $8,900 per minute. Hopefully this gives you guys a good sense for how you can turn your department from being the department of know to the department of know-how. And with that, I'd like to introduce and turn over to Matt Dinger, Global Epic Leader with AWS. Matt?
Thanks, Jeff. So I'm Matt Dinger. I lead our Epic initiatives and strategies at AWS. Spent the bulk of my career in healthcare technology, including nearly a decade at Epic, where I was an executive on the implementation team, overseeing process tools, methodology, and actually created Epic's most recent implementation methodology, originally called Utility, as well as the Gold Stars program. And it is a pleasure to work with the Epic on AWS community and continue the work to bring this EHR to as many folks as possible. Here you see a small snippet of our Epic on AWS community. We actually have 19 customers who are deploying Epic on AWS and or live in at least one environment as they move forward, including a number of those with their full stack in Epic on AWS. Next slide. One example of this is Tufts Medicine. They were the first full stack customer on AWS, so their production environment being live there. You'll see it was a significant project that they tackled, consolidating 6 EHRs, 42 integrated applications, moving to one new EHR in the cloud, so Epic on AWS. This was a 14-month project for them. Their goal was creating frictionless care for patients, physicians, and the entire care team. A really incredible endeavor that they went through. One reason why I want to talk about Tufts today is they are constantly on the cutting edge with the cloud and first to adopt our new instance types that are developed as a part of that gref conversation that Jeff was talking about. Not only does that allow us to size larger Epic customers, but it brings greater efficiency to the Epic on AWS community. With Tufts Medicine moving to our 4th generation instance types, they estimate they will save about $400,000 a year as a result of that. So reflects the commitment to ensuring efficiency with the customers and being able to really take advantage of the cloud to move instance types to, do things that hardware upgrades would generally take years to do in a previous world, but being able to do so very quickly. Next slide. And the Cloud Read-Only environment, just to give a little bit more detail on this that Jeff talked about, really is just an air-gapped solution that provides that copy of the production environment from near real time, essentially, so that in the event of a ransomware situation, your clinicians and other users can easily pivot to that environment and be able to have all of the information that was available in the EHR before the ransomware event occurred. One of our customers who recently went live on this reported that they were able to renegotiate with their cybersecurity insurance provider and actually saw a significant reduction in those premiums. They said it was the first time that cost reduced. It had gone up every single year, as I'm sure health systems well know, and providing this net new Cloud Read-Only environment increase their security posture, ultimately making their patients safer and also getting cost savings there to the customer. Next slide, please. So there are a number of ways to get started with us and with Keystone, one of which is to launch a pilot implementation. We do this in non-prod environments. Production, of course, if you're looking at the full stack, Cloud Read-Only is a great way to get started and dip your toe in the water, as well as an industry landing zone that Prathima will talk about just in just a moment. The other great way to get started is to build a TCO and ROI analysis to drive benefit across your organization. Another great way that we partner with Keystone in some of these initiatives is really being able to look at overall TCO of cloud implementation, employing a licensing assessment that we can provide that will allow you to optimize any license costs that you have, but just a couple of thoughts as far as that's concerned. Next slide. And I will turn it back to Eric for any Q&A.
All right. I think there's been a couple of questions come in. And let's see. With the team here, I think we can handle these questions. So here I'll read question 1. We have concerted initiatives to reduce ransomware risk for 2024. What can AWS offer to help accomplish this?
So some of those things that I mentioned in my part of the presentation, by putting the non-prod environments, for example, is a great way to dip your toe in and begin reaping savings. The biggest part of that is being able to turn off those environments, to turn them down when you're not in a release cycle or when training's not occurring. Most of those environments can be turned down to be very small and consume very, very small monthly costs, and then quickly and easily turned back up. That's something you can't do in a on-prem solution. In an on-prem solution, you're having to buy basically duplicate hardware. You've got your production hardware and as much of a copy of that production hardware as possible. I've been through this situation, and it's heartbreaking to say, no, we can't fully test that because we just don't have the money for that interface to be turned on, or for this environment to be stood up to the full size. So those are ways that we can leverage cloud today and dip our toe in. I think it starts with the DRBC piece and goes on to the other non-prod environments, ultimately to the full stack of environments.
And I think in handling specifically the ransomware risk, the cloud read-only environment that Jeff, that you mentioned, and I think that Matt drilled in on a little bit more. That cloud read-only is, I think, Matt, you used a term, it's an air-gapped environment. I mean, could you talk a little bit more about how resilient this solution is?
Sure. So what that means is there is a separation between the typical environments you have, whether you are on-prem today, honestly, even using a different cloud service provider for any of those environments. But what that does is it allows you to go, the chief security officer says, hey, we need to shut everything down. We've had this ransomware event and the risk is too great. Then you can go to that separated, that air-gapped environment, and spin that up, to the moment before the ransomware event occurred. And so, having that extra layer of protection, something that will allow you to have access to an environment that you didn't before, again, that is separate from those environments that were compromised, really offers a lot of security and, in particular, an ability to respond to a ransomware event.
Rothima, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, one thing I want to add is from the cost perspective, this is a very minimal investment for our health system customers to tip their toes. So this could be the crawl, walk, run journey that we mostly see in health systems, I think there was a question that most customers may not be ready for the production. This may be a first step, do a cloud read-only with landings on accelerator that our partner Keystone can come and deploy it, test it out, see the value, and then move on to the DR, or it could be a training workload that Jeff mentioned about, Thanks, Eric.
Yep, that's right. I think there was, the use case here, certainly, I think recently, I won't name names, but if you read the Becker's headlines, there was a Midwest health system who experienced approximately 2 weeks of downtime due to a ransomware attack, and the Epic Cloud Read-Only solution, I think, would have perhaps saved the day in that scenario. All right, question number 2 says, we are in a situation where spending for IT initiatives is down or constricting. What can you do to save my system money?
One of the biggest areas in a lot of healthcare organizations is cash flow. So if cash flow is a large issue, decreasing capital spend and moving more towards consumption-based spending is exactly in the wheelhouse of cloud. That allows the very large expenditures for hardware that will get depreciated over 4 or 5 years, 3 to 4 years if finances are healthy, and more often, realistically, 5 and 6 years, where the hardware equipment gets old and the performance gets lagging. You can be in the cloud and pay as you go. The other thing about cloud is the ability to turn workloads on and off. We've saved just a ton of money for our clients through scheduled instance scheduling, where workloads are turned up and down based on the time of day or the day of the week, or as needed. If you're talking about non-prod environments, if you're talking about release schedules, if you're getting close to a release and you're big into testing for a month or two, you can really spin those up and do a very valid test, and then spin up your training. You can stage all of those and be using and paying for resources only when you need them. That has saved untold thousands and thousands of dollars. Very effective means.
Prothema, Matt, do you have anything else to add to that?
Matt, want to see?
Sure. So I gave one example as far as some of the new instances are concerned, and one of the great things about working for AWS is the commitment to the customer and ensuring that cost savings is passed along to them. And so there are a great number of efficiencies that are built into the cloud that are both reactive and proactive. One of those is just as we're designing your cloud journey, ensuring that we are taking that into account, and then continually looking at optimization and right sizing that can be done through, in some environments, spinning up and spinning down, and in others, looking for efficiencies in the newest generation technology.
Yep. Well stated. All right, we'll take perhaps one more question here. So question 3 is, we are not ready to move our production EHR to the cloud just yet. What are my other options to take smaller steps?
Again, we've kind of alluded to these throughout the presentation today, but there's a lot of folks who might be in the situation where they just purchased a large amount of hardware for their production Epic environment, and they're in a position where their CFO is saying, we need to run this depreciation schedule out. We can't impair these assets and have all of that cost go straight to our bottom line. That's completely untenable. In those situations, dipping your toe in with a DR or an Epic read-only environment is the way to go. It gives you experience with cloud. It lets you ease into it in a very controlled way and gain confidence. And as the hardware reaches its fully depreciated value, you can begin to contemplate moving other workloads over to AWS. It's a great way to dip your toe in and create the great transition and bridge to a full cloud strategy.
Thank you, Jeff. I also want to call out what Matt discussed. We are open to work with our health system customers through Keystone partnership on doing a pilot or a proof of concept, which will allow our customers to see the value. In addition to everything Jeff said, I just want to make sure, we are very flexible on the opportunities where we can come and demonstrate the value.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your questions, and speakers and panelists. This has been excellent. What we started with was Eric's mom, who has manifested itself into an opportunity to improve the lives of patients everywhere. In partnership with Keystone, AWS is really poised to provide an answer to the challenge medical groups across the country are really experiencing. So with your help, we can enhance patient care altogether. You might ask, okay, what's my next step? Well, if you're headed to the AWS reInvent conference in November, December in Las Vegas, it's an excellent opportunity to continue these types of conversations with Keystone and AWS. Just reach out to us. We're happy to schedule a meeting on site. Check out our EHR blog and our EHR guide. You can download that today. It will also be sent out to you as participants in this webinar. And Prathima is available to discuss creating and starting an AWS partnership, and she is available to you. Her email is also included here. So with that, I want to thank you for your attendance today. We'll see you next time, and take care.